Hi, good afternoon. I'm Robin Way. I'm the founder and CEO of Corios, a Dataiku partner. I'm going to present to you the Analytics Modernization Platform from Corios that helps our clients transfer all of their SaaS data, analytics, and end users into the Dataiku DSS user experience. I'm also going to be joined by Austin Barber, the VP of Enterprise Sales here at Corios, for a deep dive into another one of our solutions that sits on top of the Analytics Modernization Platform. A little bit about Corios. We help Dataiku clients who are using SaaS to take their users, their data, and all of their analytic workloads from SaaS and move them directly into Dataiku, as well as onto the data analytic platforms that Dataiku sits on top of, such as Kubernetes, Databricks, and AWS. We have a ton of experience migrating and modernizing SaaS workloads and SaaS using enterprises into the modern world using open source platforms on the cloud and helping those clients future-proof all of the investment that they have in data analytics coming from the last years that they have in building this material. Our partnership is super successful. We move SaaS workloads, SaaS coders, and clickers directly into Dataiku. And in particular, we're one of the only partners that helps SaaS clickers move their SaaS Enterprise Guide workloads directly into Visual Recipes. Some of the many reasons that clients are moving away from SaaS is SaaS 9 is at its end of life. It's already been declared by SaaS as having a specific termination date not so far off in the future, and clients have been looking for replacements anyway. And in particular, a lot of SaaS end users are pointers and clickers. And Corios routinely recommends that Dataiku DSS is the perfect destination for them to move the SaaS pointing and clicking workloads into the Dataiku DSS user experience because it is the right fit for them. It also helps SaaS users avoid proprietary code and proprietary data formats that they're locked into when they work with SaaS, and get away from fixed on-premises infrastructure that is extremely costly. The use of SaaS brings almost zero data governance. It's literally a Wild West environment. And they need to be able to adapt to modernizing skill sets that the enterprise is going to adopt, and Dataiku supports that directly. When you think about the way that enterprises have been using SaaS, virtually all of those people in the organization are using SaaS to basically pipe data around the org and move it from old formats into new formats. And that doesn't really produce a lot of high value for the organization. So where executives want to bring their customers and their end users is to be able to adopt a wide variety of skills and the knowledge of the data and analytics in the enterprise. And Dataiku enables that directly by Corios helping SaaS using enterprises bring all of their SaaS people and SaaS workloads into Dataiku. Then that vision can be recognized and realized. Now I'd like to turn over to Austin Barber, who's going to share a case study of a client who's adopted Dataiku to move all of their bank credit risk solutions directly into the Dataiku platform with Corios' direct support. Austin, over to you.
Hi, I'm Austin Barber, VP of Enterprise Sales here at Corios. I wanted to share a real-world example of the strong alignment between Corios, Dataiku, and some of our mutual customers. After working on a SaaS CECL solution since 2018, a large US bank and longtime Corios client was facing an end-of-life event and asked us for recommendations on next steps early last year. They wanted us to include SaaS alternatives in our advice, and we came up with a proposal ultimately that was selected with Dataiku and Databricks as the new CECL platform. Using our Corios Analytics Modernization Platform, we have been and are converting the bank's entire legacy SaaS expected credit loss platform, including the upstream ETL, the atomic models, the user-defined logic, and all the downstream adjustment uploads, overrides, and reporting into the Dataiku Credit Loss Solution. Important to note here that highly regulated credit risk forecasting applications don't necessarily use the highest complexity algorithms or AI or anything like that, but they do require a high degree of governance, orchestration, and control, which is inherently complex on any technology platform. Dataiku, however, simplifies analytics applications with super intuitive interfaces, granular governance and controls, and a wide range of integrations with complementary platforms such as Databricks, which will be the ultimate engine and data storage layer that Dataiku will sit on top of in this credit risk solution. The major deciding factor in the bank pursuing this migration ultimately was they're facing of an end-of-life situation. There are a lot of advantages that Dataiku and Databricks together have to offer that SaaS simply does not, including talent acquisition and retention, the entirely open nature of both platforms, performance, and cost, not to mention some of the efficiency gains that the bank will get along the way as they move into a more modern, more flexible platform. We need to get them off of the SaaS solution by Q4 2025 at the latest. We are targeting much earlier than that, but about an 18-month migration is realistic if you include everything that is not directly CECL, but credit risk related that's happening on the SaaS platform. We have a phased project and migration approach, with CECL being the first and highest priority use case, but also tangential use cases are going to need to go along with them, such as stress testing, ongoing performance monitoring, and the whole model development lifecycle. We are confident that we will meet our deadlines and successfully migrate the bank to a cheaper, higher performing, and more capable platform next year. And I just want to note that working with Dataiku across the board has been a huge highlight of my past year of working in my role as VP of Enterprise Sales. That goes for everyone on the sales organization and all the way to the services organization and everyone in between. Everyone has been really good to work with, very supportive, very helpful, and very knowledgeable. And we look forward to bringing that high level of expertise to many customers in the future.
Thanks, Austin. Now let's take a closer look at the Corios Analytics Modernization Platform that makes all of this possible. We're going to focus on three elements of the Analytics Modernization Platform, namely the Corios Academy, the Corios Scanner, and the Corios Translator. And how these all work in the process for migrating and modernizing SaaS workloads, data, and people to Dataiku is in this process flow diagram here. Over on the left, we start with all the SaaS code, all the SaaS data, and all the users of SaaS in the enterprise. And using the Corios Scanner, we make a complete inventory and an assessment, and in fact, a roadmap of all of those elements and which workloads really should be moved into the modern environment. Then moving to the right, first we use the Corios Translator, and specifically the translator for Dataiku, the SaaS Enterprise Guide projects, convert them into visual recipes in the Dataiku DSS. We also convert the SaaS code that you can't turn into a visual recipe into a Dataiku code recipe. We convert the data into a format that's suitable for use in Dataiku, and in our demo, we're going to show the use of Databricks Unity Catalog for converting SaaS proprietary data sets over into Databricks and leverage those in our Dataiku DSS flows. And over the top of all of this process, we have the Corios Academy, which teaches both the SaaS users and the enterprise and all the integrator engineers who will be doing these migrations from SaaS into Dataiku, all the requisite skills and experience they need to be successful. As a part of the SaaS to open source talent migration, the Corios Academy plays a key role. Data engineers and data scientists within the customer environment, the tools they need to be successful, as well as the integrator engineers who are going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. There are 9 online courses inside the customer-facing academy called Corios Rosetta Academy. What this looks like when we migrate SaaS assets over into Dataiku assets spans the whole gamut from ETL and data engineering pipelines to exploratory data analytics, data science and machine learning, and all the way down to industry solutions like the one that Austin showed you earlier. And we migrate these into all the elements of the Dataiku DSS user experience. In particular, now we're going to show a demo focusing on the scanner, the translator, and the academy. And over on the left, we have a picture of a SaaS Enterprise Guide project. And we're going to show how we grab all of the assets from that project and move them into a Dataiku DSS flow that looks just like the one over here on the right. So let's start with the Corios scanner, the first part of the Analytics Modernization Platform. And the most important part of the scanner experience is our dashboard. So this puts all of the information that we've gathered through the scanner process and makes it available to the power users and program managers at our client site. The first tab is the workload summary. This shows the count of all of the distinct SaaS users in the organization, how many workloads they own, how many lines of code, how many data tables that those jobs read and write, and a lot of other useful information. We can also see all of the kinds of use cases that those SaaS jobs are running, whether they are analytics jobs, database access jobs, ETL and data engineering, general analytics, whether they're expert jobs or whether they are reporting jobs. We also can see all of the data sources that are consumed and written by these jobs. So we can see all of the data libraries and what type they are, whether it's SAS or Oracle or SQL Server or Teradata, for example, what the names of the tables are, and even where in the workload code that those jobs are referring to those data sources. Finally, over here in the filter workload slide, we see a listing of all of the different workloads that the client has. And there's 6,822 workloads, which is a pretty big number of workloads to move into Dataiku. It's very unlikely the client's actually going to move all of those over. We have already scored all of those workloads by volume, which is how large the job is in terms of lines of SAS code, and also its complexity, whether it's low, medium, or high complexity, which tells us how challenging the workload will be to do the migration and conversion over into Dataiku. And this 3x3 heat map also shows us the same information. Well, the first thing we probably want to do is get rid of SAS workloads that don't actually have any code in them or have very little code in them. We also want to get rid of jobs that that don't actually create any permanent data. We also can remove those workloads that haven't been run in over 180 days. And we can also remove all of the duplicate jobs that are just copies of other jobs. And so now we've gone from 6,800 down to 4,800, a pretty good reduction by almost a third of the number of total workloads that we want to move. And this produces value for the customer because we don't actually have to move all those workloads that are really producing very low value for the customer. Great. Now let's focus on how we take SaaS Enterprise Guide workloads and bring them over into Dataiku using the Corios translator. The first step in this process is using our scanner. We've actually extracted all of the code out of the Enterprise Guide project that we were looking at on the PowerPoint slide. And this is what that code looks like. It's all sort of SQL joins and macros and things like that. So using our Dataiku converter, the first step in this process is to turn all of this into a format that we can directly import right into Dataiku. So the first step here is we're going to run this script, and this is going to convert into a JSON file that contains a Dataiku friendly representation of that SAS code. And when we've reviewed this and we're satisfied with it, then we can actually import that straight into Dataiku. Before we do that, let's look at what we're starting with. So we know from having already scanned the SAS job with the Corios scanner that there are two data sets that we're starting with, raw revenue and revenue exclusions. And those look a little bit like this. So now that we've got our starter data sets that start at the top of the job already ready in Dataiku, now let's actually import that job right into this same flow. And to do that, we're going to run that script in run mode. So as we run this, I'm going to actually show you how that's building not only the Dataiku DSS flow, but it's also actually running the flow in real time. And you can see over here in Dataiku, it's actually running in real time. Here comes the second process in the flow and the third process in the flow, and it's done. So if we come back over to Dataiku and refresh the screen, now you'll see we've got most of our workload already completed. And if we look at this step, we can see that there is a formula as a data processing step where we only want to keep, or we don't want to keep a certain state, and we also want to make sure that industry is fully populated. So that's showing you right there how we're moving that logic from Enterprise Guide right into the DSS flow. Okay, so the last step in the process is to complete our code recipe. And so most of this is code that Dataiku either generates for you or is specific to connecting to our Databricks cluster here. And we get all the information about the table that we're going to read from the previous step. And I'm going to paste the code that I've generated from the Corios translator right here into my workload. So I go over here and I'm going to convert this piece of code into Spark routine. It's done, and that step is right here. This is that SAS macro that we have converted into a Python function along with some other helper routines. And I'll grab that part right there and paste it here. Let's save it and let's validate it. It's successful, so let's run it. And we're connecting to the Databricks cluster. We're running the script and the job's done. And here we can take a look at our final data set that was generated over in Databricks. With that, we're done with the demonstration of the translator. So let's look at the final step in the Analytics Modernization Platform for today, which is the Corios Academy. And this is where we help our customer end users as well as our integration engineers learn all the skills that they need in order to be successful. It's quite common that SaaS users know very little about the cloud, they know very little about open source, and they need a lot of help in order to translate what they know into what they need to be successful. So for example, learning SAS to Python, SAS to SQL, and SAS to Spark, all useful skills for them in using SAS to Dataiku. And our academy consists of things like videos, which are very useful to help them understand sort of an introduction to the material, and then also guidebooks, such as converting their workloads into Spark in various formats, for example, into Amazon Glue or into Databricks. And with that, that concludes the walkthrough of the Corios Analytics Modernization Platform, including our scanner, our translators, and our academy. Thank you so much. Look forward to talking with you soon.